Radio history can be made today, okay? If you dial this number, 0344 499 1000, you could be the first ever caller on the One Mike Show on Talk Radio. How about that? A moment in history. We'll clip that, we'll send it to you. You can keep it forever. I am my Porky Parry. Do you see anybody else in the picture? Where is the fat man? The fat man's not here. He's gone on holiday. So today we'll have a great show. I'm going to tell you about everything under the sun that's worth talking about, okay? People buy more caravans. Ooh. That's the sick bag, Alice. What about the people who are driving that ship that's coming to Portsmouth today, the world's biggest aircraft carrier? Fantastic. Going to tell you about that. I'm going to tell you about everything else as well. And by the way, you might even catch my Elvis impersonation. The poor boy died 40 years ago today, but I'm not dead. I'm alive and kicking on Talk Radio from 1 o'clock. Be there or be square. Okay, folks, it's the One Mike Show again today. Why is it the One Mike? You see this gap here? That's what he fills. MG, that's what he normally fills. He's twice as wide as me. But where was he last night? Was he researching for today's show? No, he was swimming in his infinity pool at midnight, wasn't he? And taking in alcohol. That's not what we do on the show here on the One Mike's on Talk Radio, okay? I'm going to be telling you why the great British telephone box is under threat. I'm going to tell you why we've got to bring jukeboxes back into pubs. I'm going to tell you why I think that locum doctors are not necessarily a good thing. What is a locum doctor? It's a doctor who sometimes sees you and sometimes doesn't. I don't like that one, okay? We're also going to be talking about all these kids who go, ooh, I've passed all my A-levels. What's their future? You want to find out all about that and much, much more? You tune into the One Mike Show. The One Mike Show is on Talk Radio at 1. You can call me, and I want you to call me and talk to me on 0344 499 1000.
To give me your views on whether or not you think that the traditional way for a man to propose to a woman, i.e. get down on bended knee, usually in a crowded place, embarrassing himself in front of strangers, friends or whatever, is still the way you'd like it to happen if it ever happens and when you want it to happen.
But is that even the traditional way in a crowded place? I think that's more of a modern thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, like all these show-off proposals.
Well, no,
That's
I mean,
the new thing.
Well, listen, I guide a lot of my life by what I see happening in Coronation Street, okay?
Right,
and only
okay.
recently, you know, the old builder there, the old scouser, you know, rough edge and all that, gets down on his one knee. He can hardly get up again because he's so old now, you know, proposes to. But I mean, wouldn't that embarrass you like mad if somebody did that to you and you weren't expecting it? Wouldn't you die with embarrassment?
Well, I personally would not like to be proposed to in a public space at all.
Right.
Because what happens if you don't want to say yes?
Well,
what do you do then?
Well, I think the chap's got to be pretty certain that you're going to say yes before he does that. Otherwise, he's a mug, and you shouldn't marry him anyway because he's brainless. So that's a good test of it. Yeah. You know, if you're not sure in a relationship, bloke suddenly drops to his knees, that would be the end, wouldn't it? Really, because of the embarrassment. Now, if it was me, the way I would do it, if I suddenly decided, I would get the plane up in the air with a trailing banner, and if the girl's name was, say, I don't know, Trudy, you know, Trudy, will you marry me, or something like that. Now, I'd do that over a football ground or something like that, because I'm an exhibitionist, you know what I mean?
Really?
And I would like it to be different. What would you say if you were sitting in that football ground, and you suddenly saw, Victoria, will you marry me, as a, you know, a trailer across the sky?
Okay, part of me thinks that's touching, part of me thinks that's ludicrous and ridiculous, and I don't know. I don't like these proposals where people spend thousands of pounds or loads of money.
Yes.
And go to these really ridiculous lengths just to be, you know,
well,
it's like one-upmanship. It's like weddings as well. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Same with hen do's, stag do's.
Yes.
It's always like, oh, I've got to do better than my mate.
That's right, yeah. Because another one, you see, a friend of mine who lives in California, she met a new boyfriend. He said, I'm going on business to Paris next weekend. Why don't you come with me? First time he'd ever invited her to accompany him on business. She thought, this is it. They'd been together for a year. They went to Paris. She thought they were going to go up the Eiffel Tower. A proposal was coming. There was no proposal. And she was so upset because she'd built it up so big in her head. She finished with it and said, you took me all the way to Paris. You know, you must have, you know, what do you think I was thinking, being taken to Paris and after a year? And she was so upset she couldn't bring the relationship back together again because she hadn't been proposed to. And that was it. So what I'm saying is you've got to get this right, because if you don't, you get it very wrong.
Well, yeah, but I think that's partly her fault, like having
Yes.
too greater expectation.
Well, this is the thing. You're playing with people's emotions, aren't you, in a situation like that?
Yeah.
I know a bloke who got on his knee on the jumbo jet that was taking them to America for like a holiday, but he hadn't told her it was going to be their honeymoon, and they were getting married when they got there. It was a Las Vegas style thing.
And how did she take that?
Well, she did. She said, yeah, okay, because she didn't think he'd ever ask again. So, so that was it. So there we are.